This week, Larry Fink dropped two bombshell quotes about the retirement crisis and Bitcoin in his annual shareholder letter that's read by some of the largest capital allocators in the world. In the 27-page letter, he said, if the U.S. doesn't get its debt under control, America risks losing its global reserve currency position to digital assets like Bitcoin. Wild. But Bitcoin and the retirement crisis also seemed to be on the mind of another multi-trillion-dollar asset manager this week. Literally today, the third largest asset manager in the world just released a Bitcoin-focused retirement product to their $5.9 trillion asset base. Why is Bitcoin and retirement on the minds of these multi-trillion-dollar giants? Stay tuned. You don't want to miss a beat. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your Simply Session. So we're going to dive right into this BlackRock letter here, and we're going to take a look at this perceived retirement crisis here on page 14 of the letter. There's a headline that reads, "How do you reach $2,089,000? And why that number? What's up with that? Let's take a look. It says, once people start investing for retirement, the goal is simple. Make their money grow as much as possible, as fast as possible. Now, in January, BlackRock surveyed Americans asking how much money they'd need to retire comfortably. When we took the average of those responses, it was over $2 million, $2,089,000 to be exact. That is a lot more than they were expecting. And almost no one is close. Even Gen Xers, the oldest of whom will start retiring in 5 years, are falling short. In fact, 62% have saved less than $150,000. So again, not even close to that over $2 million number that would be required to live comfortably into retirement. That is scary. Now, the weird thing about this report that I found is you have Larry Fink effectively saying like, hey, Bitcoin could usurp the US dollar as the world reserve currency. But this is not the solution that they're presenting here to this retirement problem. They go on and they go down many different rabbit holes and, suggest certain things, but they don't say, hey, what about Bitcoin? Now, I think that deep down they may understand that, but they may be too busy allocating themselves first before fully saying to the public, hey, here's the solution. But we are seeing products pop up like that. And we talked about it through the intro here. It was indeed Fidelity that introduced retirement accounts with minimal fee, quote, crypto investing. So the accounts allow for buying and selling a number of different things. Let's read a little bit here. Fidelity, a financial services company, as we said, with $5.9 trillion in assets under management, has introduced new retirement accounts that will allow Americans to invest in crypto nearly fee-free. The three accounts, a tax-deferred traditional IRA and two Roth IRAs, one is a rollover, permit the buying and selling of Bitcoin, Ether, which God knows why you'd want to do that, and Litecoin, which even worse, arguably. While there are no fees to open or maintain accounts, Fidelity charges, of course, a 1% spread on the execution price of the buy and sell transactions. Now, down below here, it says, while the direct purchase of cryptocurrencies in an IRA has never been strictly prohibited, few IRA providers have allowed such purchases, according to Investopedia. Therefore, Fidelity's new IRAs may signal a change in the environment. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've seen a massive change. And Nico's going to be touching on some of that in the upcoming segment. But nonetheless, massive change here. And I think in regards to this 2 million number necessary for retirement, Bitcoin is very clearly the solution or a large part of the solution for people. And so what are we looking at in terms of how much Bitcoin to accumulate to get to this magic number? Well, let's take a look at what BlackRock and Fidelity themselves have speculated in regards to Bitcoin price, and then translate that to a number of Bitcoin that you may need. So BlackRock itself, back in January, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink made one of his boldest Bitcoin calls yet, saying the asset could skyrocket to as high as $700,000 if institutional adoption hits scale. Speaking at, of course, the World Economic Forum in Davos, Fink said BlackRock was in talks with sovereign wealth funds, weighing whether to allocate 2 to 5% of their portfolios to Bitcoin. The quote here: "If everyone adopted that conversation, it would be $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 per Bitcoin," Fink told Bloomberg. So based on that $700,000 call and the $2,089,000 retirement number that he said people are going to need, or rather that Americans said they're going to need, what are we looking at in terms of number of Bitcoin? Well, you're looking at, again, 2,089,000 divided by 700,000. That gives you around 2.98 Bitcoin. I'm sure a number of you are looking at that number going, oh, well, I'm screwed because I'm not going to get there. I don't have the disposable income. Now, I would say that number would apply. What I'm getting at is things have been moving quickly. And the amount of adoption and the amount of things that are in play right now is staggering. And for us to be flitting around the mid 80s or the low 80s in Bitcoin with as much as has happened, I think we're on the precipice of something really big here, but people are getting their ducks in a row. And so I think that this 2.98 Bitcoin number is that $700,000 number per coin. I think that's sooner than we think. I think that's easily within the next cycle or so. So while I look at that and I say, yeah, that's a large number for people to hit to get to that 2.98 BTC. What I do think is that it's mainly the Gen Xers that were being talked about here. They've only got $150,000 saved up and they're retiring inside of 5 years. Yeah, those guys, they're in a tough spot. They can't get to this number. They can get close right now. If they took that whole 150K, they could get, a couple of Bitcoin at the time of this video, but they wouldn't quite get that up to that nearly 3 Bitcoin number. But again, I think that's, in my opinion, relatively short term. So what about longer term? What if you're maybe in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you've got a couple of decades at least ahead of you? What are we looking at here? Well, let's go to Fidelity. And so this is pretty wild. And this was actually from last year, but here on Yahoo Finance, title of the article, "Holding 0.001 Bitcoin could make you a multimillionaire," according to the Fidelity director. And the quote is, "One of the more compelling predictions for the future price of Bitcoin comes from Fidelity Investments. Jurian Timmer, Fidelity's global head of macro, has claimed that Bitcoin could go as high as $1 billion by the year 2038. The prediction is mostly based on Metcalfe's law, which states that a networked financial asset's value is equal to the square of the number of users in the network. The law, which places a numerical emphasis on network effects, has mostly been applied to technologies such as the internet and social media. However, Timmer believes the law is also applicable to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, at its core, is a network. It helps connect users to facilitate peer-to-peer transactions. According to Timmer and Metcalfe's law, the value of Bitcoin should increase exponentially as new users join the network. This exponential growth has been shown in the past, with Bitcoin exploding in price over the past decade at the same time as the number of users has grown greatly. And so I know this is a large number to look at. Who knows if that's where we are at 2038? It seems excessive, but let's just math it out really quick. Okay, so that magic number, 2,089,000, how much Bitcoin is that going to require to get there? Well, 2,089,000 divided by a billion, 0.002 BTC. That's 200,000 sats. Funny enough, slightly less than the total amount of sats that each person could have if you divided it out evenly amongst the entire population. And if we math that out in current price in and around now, as we're flitting around these low 80s, that's around $165 right now. And so what I would say is, don't just bank on this one prediction and be like, $165, I'll do that once, and then I'll just sit on it and be happy and I can retire. What I would say, though, is you shouldn't discredit your daily stacking. If you're able to go out and snag $165, you should have a big smile on your face and you should internally say to yourself, I just snagged a full Fidelity thumbs up retirement based on their predictions by 2038, according to Fidelity and BlackRock. So feel good about your stacks. Maybe that's your new stacking goal. Whatever the cadence is, you drop $165 or get around 200,000 sats. You buy a retirement every time you stack. You save up enough money, you buy another retirement. You keep on stacking retirements. 200,000 sats is the new retirement stack. So do not be discouraged. Keep at it. Keep stacking because, a lot of people don't realize that Bitcoin could be the solution to this perceived retirement crisis by Larry Fink and BlackRock themselves. Now, we are going to be back in a moment because Nico is on the road. He's going to BitBlock Boom and he never sleeps. He's a hard worker and he's still got more news for you guys. So stay tuned. We've got more on this same vein of this new institutional wave and even more. So we'll be back in 1 minute and Nico will bring you more of the news. And after that, we're going to be back with some updates on a crazy new development in and around the shifting landscape in Bitcoin mining. You're not going to want to miss that either. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today.
Yo, welcome Welcome to another episode of Simply Sessions. Lots to unpack. Moving on to the next piece of news. The headline for the audio listeners is bill that authorizes Texas comptroller to invest $250 million into Bitcoin moves to committee. So it's quite interesting. On the state level in the United States, you have multiple states that are passing legislation to make Bitcoin a reserve asset. And then on the federal level, you had Senator Cynthia Lummis, who reintroduced the Bitcoin Act that would essentially legalize the U.S. government to buy or acquire 1 million Bitcoin with the goal of paying off the debt. In fact, Senator Lummis responded to the annual letter by Larry Fink, basically saying this is why we need to pass the Bitcoin Act. Remember, the purpose of the Bitcoin Act is to pay off some of the national debt. Anyways, it goes on to say, today, HB 4258, which authorizes the state's comptroller to invest up to 250 million Bitcoin, has been referred to the state's Delivery of Government Efficiency Committee, which is Texas's version of the United States federal government's Doge. The bill was originally introduced to the Texas House of Representatives on March 11, 2025, was sponsored by 2 Democratic congresspeople. Under the proposed legislation, Texas's comptroller would have the power to invest funds from the state's Economic Stabilization Fund, colloquially referred to as the state's rainy day fund, which was created to serve as a savings account for the state and to prevent sudden notable cuts to schools, healthcare, and other state services into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It also authorizes municipalities and counties to invest up to $10 million of its funds or funds under its control into Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. If the bill were to become law, it would take effect on September 1st, 2025. So again, a continuation of the trend on multiple states, different regulatory bodies are all looking at Bitcoin as a potential reserve asset. And of course, on the federal level, same thing is happening. I think it's just a matter of time before one state passes it into law. And if a state passes into law, I think the federal government will follow very quickly. We know how the Trump administration feels about Bitcoin. So again, none of this is really surprising if you've been paying attention. Anyhow, let's talk about the price of Bitcoin. It's been a terrible, terrible year compared to all the previous cycles, but you have analysts like Tom Lee that are still expecting the price of Bitcoin to reach 150,000 by year's end. Here's a clip from MSNBC.
I think, part of this was Bitcoin seasonally was just not going to be attractive until after March ends, and now we're finally exiting March. And so I think not only is the calendar looking better, but as you're saying, Fed and central banks are easing, QT's ending. I think that with positive Washington sort of tailwinds means I think Bitcoin can do well to the end of the year.
Right. People love it when I ask you what your year-end target is on Bitcoin, because it makes people very excited.
Yes, and I mean,
one crazy high again.
I think it's still 150 or higher as possible. Okay. I know it doesn't feel like it, but once we get through this tariff and that agenda around tariffs, markets can look forward to things that could be positive.
So that's kind of like the theme, right? The theme right now is there's a lot of market uncertainty because of the new administration going into power. It's not only Bitcoin that has underperformed. The S&P has taken a huge hit. The NASDAQ has taken a huge hit since the beginning of the year. But a lot of people are speculating that the Trump administration is doing this on purpose in order to get the Fed behind their agenda, essentially. Right now, the Fed is still in the fighting inflation type of mindset, but essentially Trump is trying to force their hand to make the money printers go burr. The money printers go burr and Bitcoin goes up, right? So anyways, that's a quick update there. And let's just compare the the differences between all the halvings, right? So this was, of course, the 2013 halving. Right after the halving, Bitcoin had massive pumps. This is the famous 2017 rally. I mean, it went up after the halving, but it didn't go completely parabolic. The 2021 cycle, it went straight up. right after the halving. And as you guys could tell, the 2024-2025 cycle, I mean, it looks muted to say the least. It like kind of went up, but it just started going sideways. Opti pointed this out to me actually earlier on in the week, but he basically said, he's like, Nico, this is the first time that Bitcoin has existed in a QT environment. Bitcoin has always existed in this QE environment. So that could be it. And that's why I think I'm feeling very bullish for the end of the year, because a lot of people are expecting the Fed to change course. And if the Fed changes course, all other central banks will follow. And the Fed will change from a QT type of stance to a QE stance, and money printer goes burr, Bitcoin goes higher. Anyways, moving on to this, another pardon by the Trump administration, this time pardoning Arthur Hayes, the founder of BitMEX, a very famous altcoin casino. Trump pardons 3 BitMEX crypto exchange co-founders and ex-employee. It goes on to say President Donald Trump granted pardons to 3 co-founders of the BitMEX global cryptocurrency exchange, as well as to a former high-ranking employee of the company. The co-founders, former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes, Benjamin Dello, and Samuel Reed, and former head of business development Gregory Doer, previously pled guilty to 1 count of violating the Bank Secrecy Act related to failure to maintain anti-money laundering and know your customer programs. The founders received criminal sentences of probation of varying lengths and were ordered to pay civil fines totaling $30 million related to a lawsuit by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. So again, this is another indication by the Trump administration that it is doing a complete 180 and essentially trying to reverse a lot of the damage that was caused by the previous administration's anti-Bitcoin/crypto stance. The Trump administration continues to show that it is very pro-Bitcoin, and I think this is another indication of just that. Quick update on Samurai. Of course, we all know what happened with the Samurai Wallet developers. Originally, the Tornado Cash developers were targeted by the previous administration. That set the precedent so that the Treasury can sanction open source software. That was also reversed by the Trump administration. And of course, that led to the arrest of the Tornado Cash developers. And then that led to the arrest of the Samurai developers as well. Samurai Wallet developers appeared together in court at 4th pre-trial hearing. It goes on to say today, the 4th pre-trial hearing for the United States case against the Samurai Wallet developers took place in the Southern District of New York. This is the second time that the 2 developers have appeared together in public since the previous status conference, which occurred on September 17, 2024. Today's hearing was the shortest and least substantive of the 4 pretrial hearings that has occurred thus far, and it shows you the schedule. And anyways, what I'll say about this is hopefully Trump pardons these guys as well. I mean, I remember Simply had a very neutral stance when it came to the elections, when it came to supporting Trump or supporting RFK or supporting Kamala. It was really the arrest of the Samurai Wallet developers that really galvanized the industry, really motivated the industry to throw their hat in the political ring. I think before that, Bitcoiners were very happy to just, be disengaged, not pick sides, remain neutral. But, because of the previous administration's policies, it kind of forced us to pick a side. We were forced, right? And again, it's not like Trump is perfect, but it's like we were either for the pro-Bitcoin anti-CBDC candidate or you were for the pro-CBDC anti-Bitcoin candidate. You didn't really have a choice in a 2-party system. Anyways, this was your Simply Sessions. I'm Nico Moran from Simply Bitcoin. This is April 3rd, 2025. Smash the like button if you guys enjoy the content. See you guys later.
Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multi-sig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multi-sig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, Coldcard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. DEBIFI is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Cold Card Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to DEBIFI.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. Special thanks to Nico for holding it down, even on the road, while he's working hard at BitBlock Boom. I hope you have a blast, buddy. And we're back into it. And I want to cue up this next segment. In and around, I was just at Mining Disrupt down in Fort Lauderdale. It was my first ever mining specific conference I've ever been to. And mining, I feel like for the longest time was a blind spot to me. I didn't really dabble in it until recently with the advent of more open source Bitcoin mining and hobbyist home mining. And that really got my attention and made me excited. And so here on the screen here, you see a picture of me with this dude. His name is Scott9000, and he is the creator of the BitAxe project, which is an open source home Bitcoin miner that is cheap and accessible for your average person to dip their toes in. And it can be run, you can absolutely mine and receive a few sats via Lightning every once in a while, or you can run it as a lotto miner where you have a slim chance of potentially mining a full block on a device that costs maybe $150 and you get rewarded with a couple $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. Who doesn't want that to happen? So anyways, we had a good talk about the current state of the Bitcoin mining ecosystem. And unfortunately right now, Bitcoin mining is very, very centralized and closed. It is kind of the least Bitcoin-like of any of the current segments in Bitcoin. You go to wallets, open source. You can get lots of different options. Everything's open. You can build upon other people's stuff. And there's all this innovation. And yes, there has been innovation in and around the Bitcoin mining space, but a huge amount of manpower has gone to these massive opportunity costs of being defensive and closed source and preventing people from using your stuff and making everything so difficult. And even when it comes to the firmware on utilizing your home miner, even that is a back and forth of people trying to make their own firmware and then the manufacturers closing it down again, and then somebody trying to jailbreak it and open it up and figure out how it worked and hack their way into it again. It's crazy. I really wish there was more of a mentality of openness in the mining ecosystem. So that's why I was so excited to see this. Brains BCB100 Bitcoin control board open sourced. Brains has open sourced its control board, the BCB100, and the accompanying tools for users to build their own mining firmware. This control board is designed to serve as a replacement for the standard Antminer control boards. Interesting, that being Bitmain, of course, one of the largest players in the mining space. So the quote here, we've just open sourced the BCB100 on GitHub. The Brains control board is now officially the Bitcoin control board. Bitcoin mining infrastructure needs more transparency and resilience. This is how we help accelerate that mission. Quote, we're sending a few BCB 100 boards to Bitcoin Park in Nashville for builders to explore and experiment. A few units will also be available on the Brain store, shipping fast from our US and EU warehouses with no customs hassle, Brains said in an announcement. This is awesome to hear. I love this. Hats off to Brains for, again, furthering this movement. Hats off to Scott9000 for the BitAxe project, and everybody that's working to make mining more open and censorship resistant. Again, people like Ocean, Bitcoin Mechanic, Bob Burnett, Luke Dash Jr., all those people, they're doing the Lord's work and making sure that Bitcoin remains open, secure, and decentralized. So what can you do as an individual if you want to kind of help, if you want to be part of the Bitcoin home mining, open source mining revolution? Well, I mean, you can start by checking out some of the tutorials that we've covered here in regards to home mining. So I've done a video on the FutureBit Bitcoin miner, the NerdAxe and the BitAxe, effectively the same, just forks of the same project. So both of them will explain themselves very much the same, whether you got a NerdAxe or a BitAxe. The BitAxe one here covers actually connecting it to your own Start9 and all of your own infrastructure, which is really, really cool. And then the other one that I've done is the Brains mini miner as well. So you can check out any of those and start playing around. And if you're looking to grab a BitAxe and start playing, I met these guys down in when I was at Mining Disrupt. They're called PlebSource. You can go to plebsource.com, and they've got, of course, the BitAxe Gamma. They've got the Nerd Miner. Now, I wouldn't expect to mine a block on this thing, but if you just want to learn, it's a nice, cheap way to kind of just learn about how to even set it up. And of course, they've got a full node of the Start9 Server 1 here. If you grab like a Server 1 and a BitAxe Gamma, then you can do that full Bitcoin BitAxe miner video that I did with total control, fully self-sovereign. So really, really cool. I encourage you guys to dip your toes in. Let's make sure we spearhead this revolution here. Moving on. Another excited thing I wanted to talk about is Breeze. You may be familiar with Breeze. It is a mobile Lightning wallet. Well, they just announced a new mobile experience known as Misty Breeze. I'll read the quote here. The simplest self-custodial app for Bitcoin payments powered by Breeze SDK and nodeless. They have a full Bitcoin Magazine article on it. But the long and the short of it is that they actually utilize the Liquid network in the background. So they're taking a page out of AQUA Wallet, which I also love. AQUA Wallet, incredible, easy day-to-day payments, and you don't have to set up Lightning channels. It just kind of seamlessly works. But in the background, you're utilizing the Liquid network, the Lightning network, and a swap function in between, so you can receive offline payments, all kinds of stuff. So what did Breeze do here? Similar thing. Lightning made easy, no channels, no setup fees, just permissionless peer-to-peer payments. Receive offline payments. You don't need any Lightning channels constantly online. It'll just work for you. And you can accept payments with a customizable Lightning address, which is super cool. Future payment starts here. They've got more and more. You can get early access if you just go to their Breeze_tech handle on X, and they've got links for where to download the apps. Again, I love kind of seeing this. Again, when AQUA came out, I was like, this is the direction I want wallets to go, where you have many different ways of transacting in Bitcoin. And so I'd say the differentiator here in functionality, because I did play around with Breeze, is Breeze is effectively a singular unified balance. So you can receive an on-chain transaction or a Lightning transaction, and it auto swaps to Liquid in the background. And then you can send to on-chain or Lightning addresses or Lightning invoices. It does not show the Liquid aspect front-facing. It does not allow you to receive a direct Liquid payment or pay to a Liquid address. So that is missing, but I think they're just kind of going for that simplistic, just send and receive on-chain or Lightning, and that's cool. AQUA kind of differentiates in that they've got savings and spending. So the savings being regular on-chain Bitcoin in its own account, the spending being a combo of Liquid and Lightning. Of course, it's Liquid in the background, but Lightning operability because it uses both. And then, of course, they have stable coins, so you can have Tether on the Liquid network in the wallet as well. So again, personal preference here. You can separate it out, or you can have a singular balance here. I would love to see Breeze add in the ability to send and receive via Liquid wallets as well. That would be really cool. And again, this general sense of having it all encompassing, being able to receive a payment however, kind of like when you walk into a store, they don't care if you're using a debit card or a MasterCard or a Visa card or whatever. You just tap and go. Same idea here. And this isn't the first time we've seen it too. I covered Blitz Wallet. Same idea. They've combined Lightning, on-chain, Liquid, and even in some instances, even though it's in its infancy, they use eCash as well. So lots of innovation happening here in the wallet space. And hats off to Breeze for jumping down this rabbit hole with Liquid as a backend. Now, I did want to let you guys know, I can't wait. I'm going to be in Prague in June. And so they just dropped the announcement. I'm going to be on stage there. I can't wait to go back. I think this is my 3rd year there. Incredible conference. Make sure you check it out. If you want to head over to BTC Prague to their website, you can get your tickets. Again, btcprague.com. And if you use code BTC Sessions, you'll get yourself a discount. But I hope to see you there. It's a beautiful city. I love going back there. And the event is huge and lots of signal. So really enjoyed being there the past couple of years. And finally, tomorrow, you're not going to want to miss this. Why are we bullish? We've got Matthew Leshak, author of Fiat Food, a must read, might I say. We've also got Dr. Ken Berry, and we've got Marco from Whiteboard Finance. Massive YouTube following. I think 1 million subscribers on his show. Also, a toxic maxi on Twitter. So I can't wait to have him. He was recently on Gary and Nathan's mentor session on the channel too. Go back and check out that interview. But it's going to be a great time. So be sure to check that out. As always, if you are looking for some help in your Bitcoin journey, you need some additional hand-holding for wallets, hardware, multisig, whatever it may be sure to check out bitcoinmentor.io. I have a team of incredible educators there just waiting, ready to help you with anything you need in your Bitcoin journey. Again, check them out, bitcoinmentor.io. And with that, I'm out. Keep stacking sats, keep stacking skills. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This was your Simply Session.